certification schemes can apply for recognition at the EU level to be applicable across the 27 EU member states for a period of 5 years. There are further details on how voluntary certification schemes function and on the recognition process in the guidelines that the Commission published last year. But just briefly on the recognition process, it's a two-step process. The relevant services in the European Commission analyze the scheme and then lead a dialogue with the scheme on possible modifications or clarifications needed. And once a scheme is considered sustainable and compliant, it goes into consultation within the Commission and then with Member States. The first 7 voluntary certification schemes were recognized earlier this year. 3 of them cover all types of biofuels, and 4 of them are feedstock and or area specific, which means that you can, for example, have a sugarcane, a voluntary scheme focusing on sugarcane-based ethanol in Brazil. The question of recognition of the RSPO red cropped up earlier this week. And I just have to reiterate again that RSPO has applied for recognition and is at an advanced stage of the first step. As I mentioned earlier, on 30th September, the Commission provided feedback to the RSPO, and I'm pleased to hear that RSPO will be ready to respond shortly to that. Once RSPO Red is recognized, it would be the first voluntary certification scheme specifically focusing on palm oil. And this would, of course, facilitate compliance, showing compliance with the EU Renewable Energy Directive for palm oil, for palm-based biodiesel. Other developments, in December 2010, the Commission issued a report on indirect land use change. In short, the report concluded that there can be an impact, but further work needs to be done to see to what extent that impact is actually needs to be taken into consideration. So it's an ongoing process, and the Commission is looking into it. And also in January this year, the Commission issued reporting guidelines with additional information to be reported, specifically focusing on whether a certificate of an EU-recognized voluntary scheme is used, and if some additional bonuses can be applied, for example, for feedstock coming from restored degraded land. I would like to take a step back and just think about the key messages of the EU Renewable Energy Directive and its expected implications for palm oil. So I'd like to stress that the Renewable Energy Directive represents no change for crude palm oil imports. Those can still continue as they do, as they have and as they do still. And it represents no change for palm oil for non-fuel. So all the palm oil going into consumer products in the EU will not be affected by this directive. It only focuses on biofuels. The directive foresees incentives for sustainably produced biofuels. That's in the domain of the member states. It can be tax exemptions, tax reductions, subsidies, and so on. But by no means the Renewable Energy Directive means is a trade ban, so other biofuels can still be imported. They just won't be eligible for incentives provided. And key, palm oil biodiesel can be eligible for incentives if produced under the right conditions. I would like to say a few words on the food labeling regulation, the regulation on the provision of food information to consumers. The idea behind it is to facilitate the choice of consumers to make balanced and healthier dietary choices. This is a broad regulation, so it includes labeling requirements that would facilitate consumer choices, mandatory nutrition declarations, allergens have to be highlighted, origin of certain foods will have to be specified. But when it comes to vegetable oils, the regulation foresees that consumers will in future be informed about the sources of vegetable oils. What it really means is that vegetable oils can be grouped together in the list of ingredients under the designation of vegetable oils, but they have to be, that has to be followed by an indication of the specific vegetable origin, which means you can say vegetable oils and then in brackets olive oil, palm oil, for example. And this has to be on the basis of the total weight of the oils present. I just want to stress, because earlier this week there was also a question if the regulation is singling out palm oil, as it happened in some other cases. No, this is not the case. This regulation has a much broader scope, and when it comes to vegetable oils, it covers all vegetable oils. And this. So just as a final thought, I was encouraged to hear during the past 2 days that legislation and consumer concerns in the EU and elsewhere will contribute to the promotion and uptake of certified sustainable palm oil. And we believe that palm oil has a positive message to convey. It can be a creator of sustainable growth and employment. It can be a competitive fuel source for the world economy. And it can be a potent contributor to a better climate, as long as it is produced sustainably. Thank you.